Hi, good afternoon everyone, and more pantry transmitter things. Okie doke, right, we still have the same power supply as we've had in the previous videos, but we are now back to the 1J24B, and we are using anode and grid 2 conventional high level modulation. Now, when I say high level, you don't need that much modulation because it's not that much power. But there's not quite enough off my little MP3 player. There is off this little tiny DAB radio that modulates it up to 100% okay, but that doesn't. But I've been revisiting my youth, I have to say, and I've been listening to Kim Wilde. And Kim, if you're watching this video, please don't mind me using your one of your tracks. So, and Mr. YouTube, yes, I know it's copyrighted. I'm quite well aware of it, but I'm sure the young lady, well, young lady, yes, won't mind. We're using today a loop. This is out of an old chair, I believe. It's 60 centimetres in diameter, and there's 9 turns pile wound round that coil. Round that loop. And the 2 wires are brought to a tuning capacitor and directly to the high impedance output of the transmitter. We're running it from a 1 nanofarad output cap from the anode of the IJ24B. So, and we're driving it with a little 3.3 amp that really doesn't give out 3 watts. It's running quite low HT, this thing. It's only about 240 volts HT, so maybe about 1.5 watts from that. And we are feeding that from the little MP3 player, and that's what we're doing. Now, next thing is, that's a car radio, believe it or not, with that small length of wire stuck in the aerial socket. It's tuned to 1152. That's my old 3.3 amp that I built up many moons ago, and go into a couple of Kenwood speakers. There's one there. There's one there sitting beside the old 310. So I'm going to turn it up, and hopefully the artist won't be offended. I'll turn it up. Okay, there we go. That's a wee bit off Cambodia. Now, there's the scope. Let's have a little look. I'll try and reduce the brightness. Might change the speed of it a bit. See if that helps. Nah, it doesn't. Phones are a pain, you know. An absolute pain. Let's see if I can just variable speed it so it doesn't keep wobbling across like that. It's a bit of a nuisance. I want it to kind of partly, it'll never lock, but it might be a wee bit easier to see if we can stabilise it a little bit. There we go. That'll do now. Can't make it too bright because it doesn't like it. Now, I'll bring it in a bit closer. Maybe might be able to see it better. There you go. It's I'm sorry about the banding. Not much I can do about that. It's not overly modulating. If we turn it up a bit, we can see the white spots in the middle where it over modulates. Turn it right up, and of course it goes. It's really bad when we do that. So we bring it down. Well, I've done the parallelogram, and the parallelogram is perfect. It's absolutely spot on with different frequencies, and it's actually still quite acceptable up to 22 kilohertz, believe it or not. Maybe about 6 dB down at that point. But yeah, from 30 to 40 hertz it's down a wee bit. It's a tiny little output transformer, and that 3.3, it's not that brilliant. but once you get to about 50-60 Hertz, it's flat all the way up to about 8 to 9 kilohertz, and it begins to slowly tail off. So that's pretty decent. The loop, as I say, is working fine. I did try yesterday the ferrite sleeve antenna there with I think there's about 35 turns on that, and it actually worked surprisingly well. I was receiving it in the house, but I do have a problem indoors. It's a modulation hum, and that can be an issue. There's a lot of mains stuff in here which doesn't help. So modulation hum can be a problem, as we know. So yes, it's not great. Oh, and incidentally, the scope there is, well, that's just the scope lead sitting beside it, and of course we can adjust the tuning. There you go. It goes. It really brings it up. I wonder how it does to the sound on the radio. Just have a little listen again. It's definitely noisier. I can hear it going down. So it definitely operates, as we can see. Right, okay, DX10. Let's have a listen to it on that. Volume. I find amateur radios are not really designed for that kind of work, for good quality audio on AM. The robots, of course. There we go. So it works very well. What I want to try actually later on is I'm going to replace the 1P24B with a 1J24B. Sorry about getting it all muddled up. That's just me. I'm at a bad age. The 1J24B. I'm going to try it with the 1J29B instead. I want to see if there's any increase in power. Now, you don't need it. This will radiate all the way out of my door, right? And out to the house. It's absolutely pouring here. Terrible day here. You've no idea how much rain we've had. It's shockingly bad. All the way around past my gate, around to the front path, and I have to say across the road. Once it gets across the road, it does begin to fade. Sorry. But don't forget the loop is directional. So it's that the signal comes this way with the loop. We're actually looking at maximum signal here into the phone. Broadside is the lowest, right? So it works very well. I'm very happy with it. Audio quality is absolutely tremendous. I don't know about broadcast standards, but certainly it could do with some filtering, so as we could filter out some of the top end. We need a sharp cut off there, because it's not so much for splattering. We are splattering technically, but at the end of the day, there's nothing local that's close to it at all. After switching off 1152 in this area and 1035, we don't really have an awful lot left there on medium wave, unfortunately. But I do have other crystals that I can try in different frequencies. 1152 is a wee bit busy at night, so I wouldn't have minded trying to get on to 1035, which is much quieter. Although I do believe there's a station down in London. I think it's Leica radio down there. But the only problem is not a problem. It's never going to get to London, let alone down the end of the road. That's definitely not happening. But I just want to see what the 1J29B does, see if it's any different. I might need just that a little bit more audio drive if for instance it's how can I put it, giving me more RF output. So there you go. Anyway, this is just all the experiments. I mean, it's big. You could actually build this into a nice case, a nice box, and you could run it virtually all the time. The current drawn from this is tiny. That thing's staying stone cold, absolutely stone cold. You could run it from batteries if you wish. You can use a lithium ion with a regulator to bring it down, or you could just do it by a dropper. You could also use one of those little buck transformers, converters that were quite useful. A DC to DC converter actually, which would be more efficient than losing by heat, you know, by a linear type setup. But there you go. I like mucking about with these little rod pentos. They're good fun. They work very well. In actual fact, and this little thing, this was a wee bit of a radio. I'd made up out TRF using the wee 6-volt ones, which worked very well on that ferrite sleeve antenna that you see down on the floor, and it worked on Renton shortwave as well. I was able to hear some amateurs on 80 meters on it. That was the reaction control. And if you advanced it enough, you'd be able to resolve SSB into a set of headphones using just the sleeve antenna. No external antennas required. So it worked. Quite surprising. These are cracking little things to oscillate. I mean, this circuit will work with one of these, incidentally. It'll work with this. It will actually work surprisingly well. If you look at some of my older videos on the channel, you'll see some of the range tests I've done with it. It's a 1J42A, but they're hard to find. Very, very hard to find. So that's the only downside. Anyway, thanks guys for looking, and I thank also the use of the track from Kim Wilde. I hope she doesn't come and slap my wrists, although I wouldn't mind if she did, to be fair. But there we go. Hopefully the YouTube will be nice and kind to me as well. Yeah, okay, thanks guys, take care, all the very best, and catch up in the next video. Bye for now.